You all thought we were done with all the new mechanic information. Well, nope. There was a link posted a little bit ago on the Japan side. It's called the New System, and it talks a little bit more in depth about some of the things. But I actually have a little bit of a breakdown of things. So if you want the original link, I'll have this down below. But let's talk about what's coming, shall we? These changes are going to be implemented in Japan on May 1st. Knowing the American side of the game, will be following suit with this June 1st, which is actually fine. So, Mulligan Procedure is now going to be changed. When you return cards from your deck, you would shuffle your deck. That is no longer going to be the case. Hoo-wee. You're now going to return those cards to the bottom of the deck, and you're going to draw cards equal from the top of your deck. Now, this is a very interesting change because I like the ability to reshuffle my deck and redistribute cards for randomization. I know a lot of people didn't like this because they would quote-unquote redraw the same cards, and that was actually an issue for a lot of people. I understand that, and I wholeheartedly agree with you. I think that this Mulligan change is a little bit more interesting. Now, the deck is going to be stacked until a shuffle effect goes into play, which I'm actually fine with. No real big loss there, honestly, but an interesting change nonetheless to the Mulligan structure that already existed in the game. I think this feels more like Force of Will style than anything. Nothing too major there. Number 2, G-Assist. You no longer need to exclude 2 cards from your G-Zone. Only 2 cards from your hand will be excluded. This is another fantastic option for going forward. G-Assist was an absolutely necessary mechanic that Vanguard needed, and I'm loving this. So they no longer have the stipulation of removing from the G-Zone just going to be the hand. This is actually kind of fine for keeping additional resources when you're playing the premium format. I'm looking forward to that. Now the next one. This is a major change. Guardians, you can now normal card Guardians regardless of your Vanguard grade. So basically, you can now guard with grade 2s and grade 3s versus Dust. This is I didn't actually expect them to do this. One of the things that made Vanguard a little bit more interesting, as opposed to previous versions of itself, was the grade restriction for grades below her. Steel Vampire was a very excellent example of this. You would Steel Vampire your opponent 0, you would no longer be able to G-Guard. And you would no longer be able to call Sentinels because you were no longer at grade 3. Now they've taken away that restricted clause that has existed and made the game a little bit more interesting. And I'm extremely happy for this as well. This is a very welcomed change to the game. It now gives you access to, if you're grade stuck and you don't want a G-Assist because of it being detrimental to you, actually, super phenomenal change. Kudos to you, Bushiroad. I am really looking forward to this in future Stride formats. Being able to take advantage of this, just not only for myself, but for my opponents. Being able to perfect shield at 0 if I want to play down a game. Yeah, this is really great. Now, the next one. This is major. This has to do with strides. Whew. They have changed the stride mechanic. Stride. You can now stride if your Vanguard is grade 3 at the beginning of the turn, regardless of your opponent's grade. If both fighters are grade 1, no, you still cannot stride if you just ride it to grade 3. So basically, what ends up happening here is the turn that I ride to 3, I can no longer stride for that turn. Basically, I have to be... Let me correct that statement there. I have to be grade 3 at the beginning of my turn to be able to unlock and use my stride zone. The turn I ride to 3, we can't do anything. So, basically, I don't know. This is a very interesting thing. No, you still cannot stride if you've just rided to a grade 3 during your opponent's turn and your opponent's Vanguard isn't grade 3. So that restriction is still there, but if your Vanguard is at grade 3 at the beginning of your turn, regardless of your opponent's grade, or if both fighters' Vanguards are grade 3. So this, I like where they were attempting to go with this. You have to just be grade 3 at the beginning of the turn. So I don't know. I like getting a little bit reiterative here, but I like this change in general for the game. The restrictions for this, I'm fine with this, but being forced to do your thing, basically, for the changes of this, it's fine. And the last major change here is once per turn is now changed to only standby once per turn. It can now be only resolved once per turn. So this is a pretty major change. So, example, Night Rose's GB2 has to be resolved on the first retire that happens, cause the first retire that happens will stand by Night Rose's ability. Hence, regardless if you resolve her GB2 or not, the GB2 will no longer be active for that turn. However, Night Rose's GB2 doesn't need to be resolved on the first retire that happens. Yes, this ability will stand by. However, if you decide not to resolve it, the ability will stay active and you can still use it on GB2 for the next retire. This is major. Cards that have all those beautiful once per turn clauses on them, you can now choose to pass up on their opportunity and come revisit them. This is very interesting. I'm shocked that they did this, but when I think of a once per turn clause, I should be able to choose and apply it whenever I seek and feel fit, especially in the game of Vanguard. And I think this is just another one of those great, excellent examples of just better clarification and translations. So, Ultima versus the front unit. Ultima can't change it to choose all of your units, plus 10k, because front trigger itself does not choose in its wording. This is another really interesting exception. They're basically adapting to Ultima. Being able to choose everything in the front row and everything in the back row as well for an additional 10k. I mean, this is a fair trade-off. The front trigger basically is already applying Ultima's effect, which is actually fine. I get why we need a clarification on this, but the card itself does not actually invoke any necessary skills. So, Ultima versus the front trigger, this is fine. How does the front trigger work with Brant? Nothing happens. Front trigger isn't specified on Brant's card text. I actually wish we would get an errata for Brant to include the front trigger or some of these effects, or once again reapply some of these particular effects. It would have been nice, but we'll have to wait and see how this goes. And then the next beautiful card, Dragonic Overlord the Ace. You can act the ability twice and gain 2 auto once per turn abilities. This allows him to restand twice. Basically, this one's a little bit more ridiculous. So if you CB4 and apply your effect twice, so after the first attack, you can resolve one of the first once per turn abilities and not resolve the second one. So at the end of the resolution of the first stand ability, the second ability to restand will stay active because it has not resolved. Hence, at the end of the second attack by Dota, you can still resolve the second ability of him to restand twice. So now, Dota and Vict Plasma have the ability to restand twice in addition to their first attack. I would just want to take this time to say thank you, Stark. Not only were you the first very beautiful test dummy for this, but now it looks like Vic Plasma can now be applied in the same way that you can, but at a cost of CB4. That's some interesting spice right there. What do you guys think about these changes? I welcome most of these. I find the once per turn ability to be interesting the most. Being able to guard around dust a little bit better. It's a little bit better. I like how they're making precautions, and I think a lot of people are still on that doomsday scenario right now. But everything's looking mighty fine. It's just people got to calm down from the scenarios. So, that's all I got, guys. Deuce Arena. That's not all, card fighters. Please subscribe for more Card Fight Vanguard content. Please remember to check out mcole40 for Yu-Gi-Oh videos, and please check out mcolegames.com, my store, along with No Limit Gaming and lgtcg.com for all of your guys' trading card game needs as well. Until next time, guys, remember to hit that subscribe button. Later.